Hi and welcome back to my channel. I am Caspian? No, I'm Caspian. My full name is Caspian Koala, so that's where I think the came from. So welcome to my January TBR video. So this is my January TBR. So this is my card. This is a book I have always on my TBR, but I'm never getting to it. But I always intend to. So these are my books. I'm gonna remove that. These are the books. A bit smaller than December. Thankfully, I'm leaving room for a bit of mood reading. I hope I might get 1 or 2 books from the library. It depends. I have like 4 reserves on the library at this point, and 5, I think 5. And one of them, I have been the first to a book for like 3 months. And I don't know. I'm gonna go Gavin on this one. Florence is keeping it from me, okay? There's a Florence that's keeping that one from me. So I'm the first one on that book. And I've been forever. So I don't know when that's gonna come to me. And then there's 4 books that I have on reserve that I'm number 2 for, and I have been for a while, at least for some of them. So I might be the one getting them in January, but more probably in February, if the queue is, going the right, in the right pace. Because each and every one that has it can have it for 2 to 4 weeks, so somewhere in January, February, if no one's holding on to it. So I'm not going to talk about those, but there might be some of those in my January wrap up. So these are the books, and I'm gonna talk about them one at a time. First of all, I'm gonna talk about the book I'm currently reading. So today, when I'm recording this, it's the 30th of December, and this book I'm not gonna get through until tomorrow. I'm not gonna read this today and tomorrow. So this is on my January TBR. So even though I started it in late December, I'm counting it as my January read because I'm gonna finish it in January. So this is the 3rd and final book in the Scholarman series by Naomi Novik. This is the Golden Enclaves, and I don't know really how to talk about this book without spoiling anything. So it's a kind of high school setting. The Scholarmans is a school for magically gifted children, or anyone who isn't a mundane, as they say. And there are there's a certain number of seats at this school, and you are lucky if you get in. So it's like the world is riddled with these mouths. I think I view them as like almost demon-shaped little things, like creatures that just suck the life out of you in different ways. And they target magically gifted children because they have this life force called mana that these entities want. So these are all around. You have to fight them your whole life. So in order to be away from that world and to learn how to fight them, you can get into the school, and it's a 4-year school, the Scholarmans. So during 4 years you are safe, but not really, because the school is packed full of these creatures that come after you all the time. But at least you have access to books and studies on how to perfect your skills so that you can kill them off more quickly and use the mana that some people can, they kill one of these creatures and they get the mana, and then they can use it for their magic and creations of different kinds. So you follow this girl called Elle or Galadriel, and her way through this school. So not the first year, because I think in the first book she has already been in it a year. So it's her 2nd year, her 3rd year, something like that. But this book takes place after graduation. So this is what I'm reading right now. The first book is The Last Graduate. The second book is, maybe it says inside this. This is really funny because it has the map twice. A Deadly Education is the first book. The second book is The Last Graduate, and this is the Golden Enclaves. Yeah. So we follow Galadriel, we follow Orion, which is a guy that is really highly skilled and is driven to kill off these creatures, and everyone uses him because of his high skills, and nobody really likes him until he meets Galadriel, because Galadriel doesn't give an F. So they kinda just end up forming some kind of relationship, because he's kind of smitten by her just because of, maybe from the fact that she doesn't give an F about anything. And they have to form alliances to get through graduation, because graduation is basically trying to exit the school while being overwhelmed by these creatures that want to kill you off. Two of which are named Fortitude and something on P, I don't remember. But it's funny. I do enjoy these books, that's why I read them. But some things I don't really understand. It took me a while to understand because English isn't my first language. But now I've gotten kind of into it. So these are books that I would probably want to reread in the future, and I would like them in hard copy, hardback, because I want the amazing map of the school. This is the map of the school. So yeah, of the Scholomance. So this is the third lesson of the Scholomance. It's called Golden Enclave. So that's first on my TBR. And then we'll see which order I read this in. They are put in the order of needed to be returned to the library. That's the order I have them in. So that's probably the order I'm going to read them in. But there's one book here that I borrowed from my dad, and then there are two books that I own. So the second book on my TBR is Agatha Christie. If you remember, I read one of her books 2 months ago in November, apparently, because it wasn't December. And let's see, the original title of this is Peril at End House. Yeah, Peril at End House. Sparkling seas, shining sun, and evil hard death. 3 almost deadly accidents in just the same number of days. To Miss Nick Buckley, life in the summer paradise of St. Lou by the coast of Cornwall is anything but harmonious. When the detective that is on vacation, Hercule Poirot, and his friend Arthur Hastings witnesses the 4th attempted murder, they take on this mysterious case. Shortly thereafter, Nick invites a lot of people to a party, and one of the guests are being shot to death wearing Nick's scarf. And this book came out, for the first time it came out in 1932, and it says that this well-written intrigue has since then captured generations of readers. Yeah, I look forward to it. I think I have watched every movie adaptation or film TV adaptation of Agatha Christie's Hercule Poirot mysteries. So now I'm trying to enjoy them in written form. I really enjoyed the last one, which was the murder of Mr. Ackroyd. So this is gonna be wonderful. The Peril at End House. That's the English title, and that's what I know about it. So I have also position these in a way that I can, mix between genres while I read. So I start with The Golden Enclaves, that's a fantasy, onto this one that's a kind of historical setting, mystery kind of book. And then mystery novel, maybe that's the word. And then I have the borrowed one from my dad, which is The Hobbit, because I'm gonna join in on the Lord of the Rings read-along, I think that's the word, that is hosted by several different booktubers, YouTubers, and I'm really looking forward to it. I watched the announcement video a while back, and that's why when I asked my dad if I could borrow the book. So I have this one like this. I borrowed them all in English. He has them both in English and Swedish, so I could take my pick. So just because I want to be able to follow the chapters correctly and not be confused by any language, and my dad says that the names can be different in the different languages. So I picked the English one. So this is The Hobbit, and then in February, March, and April I will read the other ones in the Lord of the Rings. So I'm looking forward to this read along. I haven't yet read this myself. I watched the movie. I saw the movie. My dad has read this to me when I was a child, but I haven't read it myself. I wonder when this... Oh, it's really old. Wow. First published in 1937, so almost as old as Agatha Christie. As the book by Agatha Christie. But this one is from 1999, this paperback edition. A small paperback. And then I have the third, and then I'm back onto fantasy. And this is the third book in the Beautiful Creatures series. In Swedish it says Det högsta priset, det största offret, which is the highest price, the biggest sacrifice. But I think the English title is Beautiful Chaos. Yeah, Beautiful Chaos. I'm buddy reading these with a friend. She's listening to them on audiobook and I'm reading them. So she's gonna have to wait like a couple of weeks perhaps. Yeah, she's gonna have to wait a couple of weeks until I get to this one. Maybe I will read, because it depends on when I'm finished the Golden Enclaves. I'm gonna start this after the Golden Enclaves. Maybe I will read all of Hobbit in between, but we'll see. So, then I have, like, I think it's a contemporary love romance novel. So this is Abby Jimenez, and it's the second book in the Part of Your World series. Let's see what the English title is. Yours Truly. This is Yours Truly, but it's the Swedish title Med varma hälsningar, which is, it translates into Yours Truly if you want to pick, like, this is the Swedish greeting, like the end of a letter. You can sign off with this as you could with Yours Truly, but the literal translation of this is with warm greetings, and then you say your name. With warm greetings from, but the word from is kind of understood. So, let's see. Brianna Ortiz is definitely on her way down. She's in the middle of a divorce. Her brother is in desperate need of a kidney transplant that doesn't seem to exist. And the favor she's hoped for... No, not the favor. The position. It's the same word. Favor and position, like work position, is the same word in Swedish. The position she has hoped for seems to slip through her fingers and go to the irritating newbie at the emergency ward, Jacob Maddox. Brianna's life leaves much to want until she one day gets a letter from Jacob. It's handwritten, sincere, and warm. He shows himself to be both funny and sympathetic. It's just really bad at a first impression. Brianna writes back, and soon the relationship grows into an intimate kind of relationship. But Jacob has his difficulties and a broken heart to mend. When Brianna gets the chance to help him out of a messy situation, she does it without hesitating. But how should she approach Jacob, get closer to him, and at the same time guard her heart from disappointment again? Oh, I see. I don't think I knew what this was about. I just knew I wanted to read the next one when I read the first one. It doesn't seem to be at all related. Maybe Brianna... I think Brianna was a friend in the first book, right? Part of your world, I think. But I'm really looking forward to it. I do like letter form of books. But it doesn't seem to have letters in it, though. I don't think. Does it? Does it not? No, it just says chapter blah blah Jacob, chapter blah blah Brianna. So, but I'm looking forward to reading this. I have looked forward to this ever since I finished reading the first book. I hope it's as good as the first book. And then I have another fantasy, I think, Girl in Red, which is a retelling of... what's the word in English I'm looking for? The little girl wearing red with a wolf in it. Little Red Riding Hood. That's the word in English. From the national best-selling author of Alice comes a post-apocalyptic take on the perennial classic Little Red Riding Hood, about a woman who isn't as defenseless as she seems. It's not safe for anyone alone in the woods. There are predators that come out at night, critters and coyotes, snakes and wolves, but the woman in the red jacket has no choice, not since the crisis came, decimated the population and sent those who survived fleeing into quarantine camps that serve as breeding grounds for death, destruction and disease. She's just a woman trying not to get killed in a world that doesn't look anything like the one she grew up in, the one that was perfectly sane and normal and boring until 3 months ago. There are worse threats in the woods than the things that stalk their prey at night. Sometimes there are men with dark desires, weak wills and evil intent, but men in uniform with classified information, deadly secrets and unforgiving orders. And sometimes, just sometimes, there is something worse than all the horrible people and vicious beasts combined. Red doesn't like to think of herself as a killer, but she isn't about to let herself get eaten up just because she's a woman alone in the woods. So this is a book by Christina Henry, The Girl in Red. And I don't know if I have particularly looked forward to this book specifically, but I've looked forward to reading more by Christina Henry, because I've read Alice and I have read the second book after that in the Alice Chronicles, The Chronicles of Alice. I read it. Did I read it in November? Did I not read it last? I read it at the end of November. It was The Red Queen. Yeah. So I have some books to get through, and this is the next one on my list by Christina Henry. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it a lot. And then we have the second book in the Heritage Games, and this is called Den förlorade arvtagaren. I'm reading it in Swedish. Yeah, I'm reading it in Swedish. Because I read the first one in Swedish. And the original title is The Hawthorne Legacy. Yeah, so it's The Hawthorne Legacy. And I don't want to talk about this too much, but it's the second book in the series. So in the first book, we met Avery Gramps that inherited a whole mansion and set of assets from this old guy she'd never met, and how that pissed off his family, and how they tried to understand why she was the sole heir or heiress, and if they could, change this in some way. And yeah, it turned out to be some kind of game that the old man set up, and it was really an amazing tale, an amazing mystery to solve. And this is the second book. I'm looking forward to it. I think there are one more after this one, like with a red cover, because the first one had a green cover. This is a blue cover. I think the last one has a... Is the last one something Gamble? Anyway, I'm gonna read this one first, of course, and I will see. I don't think the last one is available at my library yet, but I hope it will be soon. So these are the books, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books that are fiction on my TBR. And then I have the same two of the same non-fiction as last month. So last month I read 2 non-fiction out of 4, and these are the second 2, one of which I have already started a long while back. I actually have I'm on page 205 out of 248. So this is a book about, it's called A Picture of Universe Among the People in the North by Kerstin Eidlitz-Kuljok. And this is like a scientific book, non-fiction book about the Sapmi people and also the people of Siberia, and the way they look at the universe with pictures and symbols, and the symbols on their drums and the symbols that they use to relate to the world and to cosmos. And so it's like a scientific like almost thesis. No, not like that, but it's like a compilation of it's recorded stories from these people, and she's trying to find the core of all of these symbols in this book. Is really interesting. I will, however, sell this to someone else when I'm finished with it. And then the other book is The Four Insights by Alberto Villoldo. I see the Swedish title there. Okay, so in English it's just The Four Insights, I think. The Four Insights: Wisdom, Power and Grace of the Earth Keepers. Great. And I have read this one once before, when I was initiated into the Monarchy Rites by Alberto Villoldo and the Team of the Four Winds. So I have already read this once, but I'm gonna do it more intently this time. I plan on annotating this and really immersing myself in it, immersing myself in it. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm gonna read it chapter by chapter, and there are quite a lot of chapters. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, let's see. So there's like 4 words, or like introduction, 10 pages of introduction. Then there's part 1 with a lot of like sub chapters. And then there's part 2 with a lot of sub chapters, and where he talks about each insight and subtitles of that, sub chapters of that. So the first, the second, the third, and the fourth insight, and then there's afterwards. So it's all of it is about 220 pages. So it's a doable project. I don't know how is it doable in a month? It depends on how much I read each day. Like page wise it's doable, but it depends on how much I want to annotate at the time, when I really want to get into it and use it. So maybe it will take like January and February to go through, because I don't want to rush it. I want to really savor it. So those are the books. So 9 books total, and 1 will probably go into next month as well, in February. And So 8 books that I'm probably gonna read and finish in January, and I have room for some other reads. So I am a part of some book clubs on Fable, and I want to join some more of those. Well, I want to read some more of their picks, but a lot of the picks aren't available in Sweden or not available at my library, so it's kind of pick and choose situation. So we'll see but I also have some books at home that I want to keep reading, and you're gonna get the next video you're gonna see is gonna be me talking about the books that I opened. I'm gonna open the last 2 books of the Sunweight calendar in another video, because they're not gonna be highly likely not gonna be a part of my January TBR, but maybe they will be. You will see at the end of January in my wrap up, but I will be talking about the books as I have read them, because I forget too much otherwise. So you will hear more about the books as I'm gonna return them to the library. So at least once between now and the end of January. So yeah, I will see you in my next video. Happy reading, happy new year, and I will see you in 2025. Maybe the video about the 2 Sunweight calendar books will be up before that. I don't know. We'll see. Tjingeling!